The Ballon d'Or, for the small number of you who may not know, is an award given to the footballer who is deemed to perform the best during each calendar year. Except for 2020, that is, when no award was given due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which I found a bit strange given that Ligue 1 was the only one of Europe's top 5 leagues to actually be halted without return, and the Ballon d'Or winner is always going to come from one of those 5 leagues. I just thought today, as a bit of a lark, it'd be quite fun to try and speculate as to some future Ballon d'Or winners. I'm not going to include anyone more than once, otherwise it could become a bit Mbappe heavy, and I'll be using the Ballon d'Or criteria, which seems to be heavily weighted towards Champions League, World Cup, and European Championship achievements over week in week out form in league football, and also tends to favour more attacking players. Though obviously that brings an added element of ridiculousness, since I also have to try and predict which teams will perform best in each club and international competition. It is all unscientific nonsense if we're being honest, and I highly doubt that I will guess a single year correctly, but I just thought it was a fun topic to take on during the midst of a global pandemic. If nothing else, you can assume that I think highly of every player featured. Without further ado then, here is my silly attempts to guess the next 7 Ballon d'Or winners without picking the same player twice for your amusement. 2021, Kylian Mbappe. In theory, 2021 should be the easiest decision, since we're already close to 2 months into the year and you can probably get a rough idea of who is likely to be up there. It's important to note that 2021 will feature a European Championships due to Euro 2020's postponement, and I think it quite likely that the Euros, wherever they take place, will play a major role in determining the next recipient of the Ballon d'Or. It's for that reason that I ruled out Robert Lewandowski, despite his incredible goal-scoring feats at Bayern Munich, and Lionel Messi, since Barcelona are all but out of the Champions League already, and even if Argentina cause an upset in the Copa America, the Ballon d'Or is a very Euro-centric award that tends to overlook South America's premier international competition. I think Kevin De Bruyne or Ilkay Gundogan could be in with a shout, depending on how far Man City and then either Belgium or Germany get on in the Champions League and European Championships. Meanwhile, Neymar could well be in with a shout should PSG finally get their hands on the Champions League. In the end, I went for Neymar's partner in crime, Kylian Mbappe though, who has 2 bites of the cherry with France and PSG in the Euros and the Champions League. Mbappe has been sensational for a number of years now, despite still only being 22, and he looks every bit a Ballon d'Or winner in waiting. I'd be amazed if he didn't win at least 1 Ballon d'Or before he hangs up his boots, if not more, and though I can't guess whether it'll be in 2021, 2024 or 2027, I think he's the safest bet as a future Ballon d'Or winner at some stage in this entire 7. 2022, Neymar. The World Cup always weighs heavy on Ballon d'Or voting. Just take a look at Fabio Cannavaro's crown in 2006 or Davor Schuka's spot in second in 1998. 2022 is unusual in many respects because the World Cup takes place that year, but it won't finish until after votes have typically already been cast for the Ballon d'Or. I suspect that will change in 2022 to account for performances at the finals in Qatar, meaning they will be even fresher in people's minds, and are likely to dictate who the winner is. The 2022 World Cup will likely be Messi and Ronaldo's last World Cup, and perhaps their last shot at the Ballon d'Or, and you wouldn't write off a special tournament from either one of them. At this moment in time, no one looks better equipped to win that tournament than France, though I can't include Mbappe twice. And whilst some of you may laugh, if England were to go far, I suspect it would be thanks to a masterclass from Harry Kane, who is without doubt among the best players in the world. In the end, I have plumped for Neymar, though it would be hugely dependent upon a resurgent Brazil team. Whilst he is unfortunate to have played in the toughest era to ever try and win the Ballon d'Or, it would be a bit of a travesty if Neymar failed to ever win the award. We all know he has the talent, it's just a matter of him staying fit and winning either the Champions League or the World Cup. 2023, Erling Haaland. We step into choppy waters in 2023, by which stage a number of brilliant young players ought to really be coming into their element. In Erling Haaland's case, you might suggest that he is already in his element, and that if there is even more to come from him, the Ballon d'Or could become a bit of a two-way duopoly between him and Kylian Mbappe over the next 10 years. Somehow, I can't see those two enjoying the same kind of dominance as Messi and Ronaldo, and I would much rather lay my money on Mbappe winning the award than Haaland. That's partly because the lethal 6'4" frontman represents Norway, and partly because he plays his club football for Borussia Dortmund. I suspect that by 2023, Haaland will no longer be playing for Dortmund, though it would be a real turn up for the books if he was somehow no longer Norwegian. Anyhow, I think he'll probably be at one of the Manchester clubs, Real Madrid, or, God forbid, Bayern Munich, by 2023, and that'll give him a much better chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. Haaland has scored 39 goals in 41 games since joining Borussia Dortmund a little over a year ago, and it is a borderline frightening prospect to think that the best of him may still be to come. Haaland will still only be 23 when the 2023 Ballon d'Or is awarded, which would make him the 6th youngest Ballon d'Or winner of all time by my estimation. 2024. Jules Koundé. I know it's becoming a bit of a running joke, me waxing lyrical about Jules Koundé, and I've noticed some of you like to tag me on Twitter or Instagram whenever he scores a goal or does something a bit special, but I think my fanboying is just about justified. At the age of 22, I think Koundé is already one of the best centre-backs in the world, though he is yet to win his first senior cap for France. Les Bleus have laughable depth at centre-back, and many of their options there are very young. Koundé will have a fight on his hands for a starting berth then, despite all his talent, but you won't be surprised to discover that I think it's a fight that he will win. Of course, 2024 heralds yet another European Championship, in Germany, which could make all the difference when it comes to the Ballon d'Or. Should the hosts reign supreme, the likes of Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry, and even Kai Havertz could all be in contention, but France will likely still be the team to beat. Of course, if France do win, Mbappé may well be the star, but he is already featured. Given that Jules Koundé is likely to have left Sevilla by 2024, perhaps for a world record fee for a defender, the idea that he could cost less than Harry Maguire seems insane to me. Where was I? Oh yeah, if he is left by 2024, he ought to be getting more of the recognition that he deserves in 3 years' time. Only 3 defenders have ever won the Ballon d'Or, but if I had to pick one from this current crop, I'd probably edge towards Koundé, narrowly ahead of the likes of Ruben Dias, Matthias de Ligt, and Dayot Upamecano. 2025. Joshua Kimmich. Should Germany win Euro 2024, no doubt Joshua Kimmich will be one of the frontrunners for the award. But playing for Bayern Munich means that his performances, at least in the Champions League, are always likely to be front and centre. Now, Kimmich is a holding midfielder, and you would have to go all the way back to 1990 for the last time one of those won the Ballon d'Or, and that was a German as well, in the form of Lothar Matthäus. It will take a special season for Kimmich ever to win the award, in truth, and probably the failure of any of the world's finest forwards to really set the world alight on the biggest of stages. But Kimmich is no doubt a special talent, so I wouldn't entirely rule it out. Capped 50 times by Germany, Kimmich just turned 26, and I think he's already the best player on the planet in his position. By the time 2025 Ballon d'Or voting comes around, he'll be 29, and failing any dreadful injuries, he ought to be hitting the peak of his powers. Bayern Munich will probably have to win the Champions League again, with Kimmich playing a pivotal role in the latter stages for him to have any chance. Do I think he'll win the Ballon d'Or? Probably not. Do I think it's possible? Certainly. And with the no player can feature twice rule, I don't think he's a bad shout, even if he does play in a position which has historically been overshadowed by more offensive players. 2026. Phil Foden. The 2026 World Cup is likely to be the first World Cup since 2002 without both Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and it could be the tournament in which the next generation of generational talents really get to prove themselves on the biggest of stages. There are a myriad of brilliant young players at this moment in time who will be senior professionals when the US, Canada and Mexico jointly host the finals in 5.5 years' time, and Phil Foden is one of them. If I wanted to throw a real curveball out there, I suspect one of the 3 host nations, most likely the United States, will go far in 2026, and all 3 will have star power. Hirving Lozano and Diego Lainez will likely be Mexico's biggest threats. The likes of Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies should be the linchpins for Canada, and the US MNT's brightest lights are likely to be Christian Pulisic, Giovanni Reina, and a couple of the other names you'll be well aware of if you watched my recent US MNT video. My admiration for Phil Foden is just as well documented as my love affair with Jules Koundé though, if not more so, and I thoroughly believe that he is good enough to go on and win the Ballon d'Or. Foden obviously has time on his side, age 20, and he's also likely to become the key man in a Manchester City team which looks well prepared to compete in all fronts over the next 5 or 10 years. Add in the fact that England have a good crop of young players and could easily leave a mark on the 2026 World Cup. Personally, I think he's a decent shout. 2027. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I'm just kidding. Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be 46 years old when 2027 Ballon d'Or voting comes around, though it's hard to rule anything out with the Swedish freak of nature. Just to be clear though, I am ruling this out. If Zlatan wins his first Ballon d'Or at the age of 46, I'll happily do a stupid Irish guy style forfeit. I'll go skydiving without a parachute, or eat a whole raw chicken. Is that the type of thing he'd say? Anyway, you know what I mean. 2027. Ansu Fati. I think that Ansu Fati is absolutely brilliant, and I can only cross my fingers and hope that he recovers from such a serious knee injury at such a young age without any long-term implications in terms of reaching his potential. Prior to his setback, I think Fati was probably among the 2 or 3 most talented teenagers on the planet, and there were times in which he looked like Barcelona's most dangerous player that wasn't called Lionel Messi. He'll still only be 25 by 2027, and potentially yet to have even hit his best form. But I also can't see him winning a Ballon d'Or before 2027, since I think it could take that long before Barcelona truly establish themselves as a formidable force within the European game and start to challenge for the Champions League title once again. Barca would have to be certifiably insane to let a talent like Fati go, though given the events of the last few years, that can't be ruled out. Born in Guinea-Bissau, Fati spent his early years living in Portugal and on the outskirts of Seville, before being signed by Barcelona as a 10-year-old. Barca have been extremely excited about Fati pretty much ever since, and at the age of 16, he became the club's youngest player since 1941 and their second youngest of all time. A couple of weeks later, he became Barca's youngest ever goalscorer, and it was starting to seem as though the club's excitement was fully justified. Fati's injury couldn't have come at a worse time, as he was in fine form before the setback, but he strikes me as a resilient young man who will do anything possible to come back firing on all cylinders. As with every player in this 7, I've no idea whether he'll win the 2027 Ballon d'Or, or any Ballon d'Or for that matter, but I do think he's a pretty unique talent, and I know he has all the attributes to become one of the best players in the world. So that's it for today's slightly silly but hopefully somewhat entertaining 7. 2 players I just wanted to mention were Eduardo Camavinga and Youssoufa Moukoko, both of whom look like they could be generational talents. I've seen much more of Camavinga than Moukoko, who is only 16, but both leave a lasting impression given their talent at their respective ages. Much like Fati, they are so young that they likely still won't have yet hit their prime, even in 7 years' time, and had I covered a decade rather than 7 years, both would probably have featured. Of course, there are 100 other players I could have mentioned, if not more, and I'd love to hear some of your outlandish Ballon d'Or predictions in the comments. Mason Greenwood for 2025, Sandro Tonali 2023, or Gabriel Martinelli 2027. Let us know in the comments. Thank you all as ever for watching. Go ahead and hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you are subscribed to HITC Sevens and have notifications turned on. But above all else, I hope you have a brilliant day, wherever you are in the world, and whatever your specific COVID restrictions might be. Oh, and before I go, a reminder that you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or both, via the username @HITC Sevens, should you wish to do so.